Thank you, Monica. We want to play for you now a song that was written in 1900 and is considered the Black national anthem. because that's the beauty of virtual anything, is that we can watch it from anywhere and any way we want to, with the freedom to gather inspiration from wherever it comes. So today we are deepening the theme for June, which is a soul's calling. And the topic today is love's liberation. And so we have as a special guest practitioner John Heron from CSL Princeton, who will bless us with a really special story, because he's a special storyteller, and an opening treatment. But first I want to tell you that what today is about is really understanding that love is the only thing that really liberates us. And that historically we're celebrating a few very special days this weekend. And those days really are reminders for each of us to grow and to evolve. And that happens by means of being a healing presence, the presence of love. And the beauty is that never ends, because the kind of love I'm talking about is infinite, meaning infinite, never ending. So my name is Frankie, and I'm the spiritual director here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. And we have a wonderful website that continues to get updated, which is a perfect place for you to give. And if that's a challenge for you, we have a whole list of ways to do it, and the easiest for me is text to give. And so if you are on Facebook, be sure to say hello, make comments, ask questions, use the bubbles, say hello to each other, share anything you find on our page that you might think anybody else would love to see. And then also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Meetup. I think that's about it. We're all over the place. We're just media, social media. I was going to say sluts, but they might cut that one. And so now I have the honor to introduce John Heron to you, who is a practitioner at CSL Princeton.
And today a practitioner at CSL Morristown. So thank you so much. What Reverend Frankie was saying made me think of something. Ernest Holmes in one place says that when we seem to be in conflict, when things in our lives are not lining up, we become still and we listen. All the love there is, all the love there is right here, right now, with me. I think this is maybe the core of this teaching of science of mind. What do we do when things aren't working? We listen to that place inside of us where all the love there is lives. And so there's a story I was thinking of. I heard it, Ramakrishna, who was a Hindu sage and mystic in the 1800s, he used to tell this story about a man who was very poor and worked very, very hard just to get subsistence in his life. And one day he heard somebody talking about that there was this beach. And in the pebbles on this beach was this gem that was worth more than anything in the world. And if somebody actually found it, all their problems would be solved. Well, this poor man who spent his whole day, every day, working just to have food, decided that he was going to go to this beach and he was going to find this gem. And so he gets there first thing in the morning. And he looks around, and he rolls up his cuffs of his pants, and he rolls up his sleeves, and he puts his hat on, and he starts examining every pebble to find that gem that will solve all of his problems. And he spends the whole day, and the sun comes up, and it's hot. Nothing. Nothing stops him. He picks up every pebble and he examines it to make sure that he doesn't miss this gem that will solve all the problems of his life. And the sun goes up and it's hot and it's hot, and then it starts going down, and he won't stop for anything because he is determined to find this gem. And it starts getting cold, and it starts getting dark, and he falls asleep right there on the beach. He certainly is not going to leave because he won't remember the next day where he left off, and somebody else might come and find that gem. That's not going to happen. And so without any food, without any water, he does this the second day. And by the time the third day comes, he is just collapsed there on the beach. He's examined every pebble in front of him, and he hasn't yet found this gem. And somebody sees him. Somebody walking by the beach sees him, and he's sort of collapsed there on the beach. And the person goes and gets water and gets some food and brings it to him and picks him up. And as he picks him up, he notices that something falls out of the cuff that he rolled up in his pants. And he reaches down, and it's this priceless gem. Who knows at which point that gem fell into his cuff? Maybe it was just as he was rolling it up, and it was with him the whole time. So, you know the obvious implication. This is what we do, right? Oh, today I woke up and I felt a pain in my shoulder. What did I do to create the pain in my shoulder? What did I do? I'm examining that pebble, right? Ramakrishna also used to, one of his spiritual practices is he sang these wonderful mystical songs. And one of the songs he sang was, look inside in the ocean of God's beauty. Dive deep, O mind, into the ocean of God's beauty. If you descend to the deepest depths, there you will find the gem of love. The gem of love, right? In the Quran it says, God is closer to us than the vein of our neck, right? But how do we swim in that ocean? I don't know. You know, dive into those depths, how? And it brings to mind that quote from the Sufi mystic Rumi. We are not a drop in the ocean. We are the ocean in a drop. We don't have to learn how to swim. We are the ocean. And all that's happening, my understanding of this practice of the science of mind, all the love there is right here, right now, waiting for us to say yes. That's it. That's freedom. Today we celebrate freedom. We celebrate Juneteenth. It's Pride Month. It's Father's Day. What better thing than to celebrate freedom, right? And all we need to do to celebrate freedom, as we learn in the science of mind, is to say yes to it. And so I welcome you, and I say this is the time to stop and say yes to freedom. So from that place, let's do a spiritual mind treatment. So this word is for CSL Morristown and for everyone who participates in this service, and for the whole world, for each one of us. Knowing that in God, the way is clear. There is always freedom. God is that freedom. Truth is that freedom. And since this is so, then each one of us, every one of us is that freedom. That's who we are. And therefore, I know right here and now that each one is saying yes to freedom. Each one knows that place within them where the gem of love lives, and each one says yes. And in that place, of saying yes. The whole world opens up for everyone. And a world of freedom is present in each one's world. And this is the world that everyone is now experiencing. And I know that each one's heart is now open and full and filled with all the love there is. And each one is experiencing it, and each one is expressing it, and this is the truth. And from that truth, with great gratitude, I release this to the law. It is done, and so it is.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, John. It's lovely to have some live piano music, right? It's so good to see you all. So, those of you that are new to this teaching may not realize that we are considered a liberation theology. Those of you that are very familiar might not even realize that either, right? But that's what we're about. We're really about freedom, liberation. And we believe in our teaching that every human being is a divine being. Every human being is a divine being. The vision that we have at the Global Centers for Spiritual Living is together creating a world that works for everyone. That's a high calling, right? That demands a lot of each of us. The thing that we teach, when you distill all of it, because there's a lot of words, a lot of language, a lot of concepts, right? But the thing that we teach is that love is all there is. We used to have a banner on the wall that said, love is all there is. Love is all there is. That's the simplicity of what we're all about and what we teach. But is it? Is it? Is love all there is? When we look at the world, we might say, not quite yet. As long as we witness human suffering, we haven't yet fully demonstrated that infinite principle that says love is all there is. Just means we have work to do. And so we're the ones to bring it. The ones that say, yeah, love is not all there is. I don't quite see it in myself, in my world, in my relationships, in my bank account, in my career. Well, if you and I are witnessing not seeing it, that means we're the ones to bring it. What we tend to do is seek it. When we say, well, love isn't all there is in my life or in my world, well, let me go seek it, which really comes from a place of lack, an idea of lack, a belief in lack, which sometimes is unconscious. So we think, oh, well, if only I find the right partner, if only my relationships work out, if only I were healthier, wealthier, more creative, more happy. And so we come from a place of there isn't enough, instead of saying, it's already within me, it's the truth principle. How can I bring it? How can I participate in creating a world that works for everyone? Now, we know that much of this is not conscious. I don't think any of us go around with a begging bowl and say, will you please give me a little love, because I just don't have enough of it. And so it's our life experiences that require us to become conscious of what it is that we really believe, so that we know what there is to heal. And so we go to the source when we say, there ain't enough, or I don't have enough, whatever. We go to the source with a capital S, the source of love, the source of compassion, the source of truth, the source of light, the source of happiness, the source of well-being, which is within us, right? And so we begin then to heal that sense of separation. We begin to see that there are certain things that we each, consciously or unconsciously, hold outside our heart. I'm not letting that in. I'm not letting that person in. Right? And so we get to really pay attention, because some of that is conscious, but some of it isn't. So how do we know? We know by how we feel. We know by how we feel when we watch the news, when we hear not such good news, when we struggle, when we're with someone that we have judgment about, right? Because our very body, our very emotional body, tells us who and what we hold outside our heart, which is where we say love isn't all there is. I then experience the result of that sense of separation, and I then must bring that which is already fully formed within me, divine love. And so I want to weave together a few things that we are celebrating. There's Father's Day. So those of you in the room who are dads, we celebrate you, and we thank you, and we honor you. We know it hasn't always been an easy, smooth journey. We know that your hearts have ached at times. We celebrate your love, your commitment, your effort, your energy, your persistence. And so we do celebrate all fathers. And I know that it has the range of emotion between deep love and then the opposite. But everything in between, right? We all have had our own experience with our dads. And some of us carry wounds from how we were or were not fathered. Now that we are adults, we are responsible to heal that wound, so we can arrive at a place where we can say, love is all there is. Love is all there is. So we get to experience our relationships with our dads as our soul's calling to healing. And then we have summer solstice. Tonight at 10:31 p.m., summer begins. I know some of you are thrilled, and some of you can't wait till it's fall or winter or spring, right? Because there's all that where we have a different experience of the seasons. I've learned to embrace them all, and I love them all. But summer solstice is really about the nourishment of the earth. It's the blessings of the earth. And summer solstice is all about balance between night and day. It reflects equality in nature. And it invites us to balance the darkness and the light. And then there's the most painful one, Juneteenth. Take a deep breath, because I have some things to say that might not be easy to hear. So take a breath and notice what you hold outside your heart, what you believe about love being all there is, or believe about not. And then we will do a healing practice after that, so that we can truly come to a place of personal freedom and extending that to all others. So notice your heart and what it has to say. Juneteenth first existed 156 years ago, and it just this week became a federal holiday, named so by Congress. The first new federal holiday in about 4 decades. It was time. 156 years ago, just 2 months after the Civil War ended, the enslaved people of Texas were told that slavery was abolished and they were free. Can you imagine that? After 250 years of slavery, being told slavery was abolished and you are free. But it's not over. Slavery is still alive and well in our country and in the world. The forms have changed, but it still exists. Between 1865 and 1877, after slavery was abolished and slaves were set free, there were at least 2,000 lynchings of black people. So it wasn't over. It was one of the most violent periods in American history. Maybe Native genocide. And so racial justice, or racial injustice, didn't end then, and it hasn't ended yet. There is now still systematic oppression, injustice, and segregation continuing right in our neighborhoods. There is medical apartheid that's been happening since the beginning of history. There's an economic disparities that aren't just coincidence or consciousness. There's a level of inequality in the legal system where incarceration amongst people of color is disproportionately out of whack. Even right here in Morristown, and that's why the prosecutor that was here is no longer here. And the system is very slowly, very, very slowly changing. Human rights continue to be dismissed, and racial human rights and racial injustice continues to be a daily experience of all our brothers and sisters of color. It's not okay. I'm sure it's not okay with any of us. And what is it that we are bringing to it so it continues? And what do we need to bring to it so it ends? It's a very intimate, personal question, right? And it's an ongoing process that maybe never has an end, but it can be a process that allows for healing and expansion. Martin Luther King said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." That's a powerful statement. And Fannie Lou Hamer, who was a civil rights leader and a women's voting activist, or women's rights activist and a voting activist, says that nobody is free until we're all free. That's what the vision is for CSL, a world that works for everyone, That's a powerful spiritual principle that we can hold as a vision for where we are going. And so let's do a little meditative practice to shift to this place of what's possible when we truly claim freedom within our own hearts. I invite you to close your eyes. Take another deep breath in case you've been holding it. Have compassion for yourself or how you feel. And take a moment to think about your dad. What did you receive from your dad that you're grateful for? And is there anything in your relationship with your father that you are not grateful for? That you either regret or miss or feel sad about? Remember to breathe. And now take the part that's missing, that you didn't get, to another father. Take it to Dr. Ernest Holmes, the father of the science of mind teaching, and imagine that moment, allowing yourself to still be grateful for what you received from your dad or receive still, and then what you've received from Ernest Holmes, the science of mind teaching. He was the founder of our teaching. What did you receive there? And allow it to fill up that place of lacking with your own dad. Let him fill it up with his wisdom, whether it's specifics or just energetic. Remember to breathe. Is there still something missing, lacking? Is there still something of an ache? Then take it to the Divine Father, the universal masculine principle, and let it fill that space until you feel so full that you spill over, and bring that spilling over to the world around you. Actively or energetically or spiritual practice-wise or all of the above. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Love liberates us. Love's liberation is ever present, ever available, no matter what's going on in the world or in our lives. It is waiting for us to say yes, to be called upon. And so freedom for all just means that we have to tell the truth. And that's not just personal, but that's historic and universal, right? Telling the truth is powerfully healing. And so when we think about reconciliation or atonement or restorative justice, it simply begins by acknowledging our history and no longer shoveling it under the rug and pretend it didn't happen and not teach it in schools where it needs to be taught. It just begins by telling the truth, acknowledge the truth instead of silence, denial, and ignorance. That's true personally, right? As well as collectively. And then we reaffirm this idea of freedom and justice for all. South Africa did it. Germany did it. And we are an amazingly powerful country and we can do it. And it starts here with me and you. Or we remember that infinite love is already within us, it's all there is, and we're not here to seek it, to get it, to fill up on it some more, but to dish it out and to bring it wherever we go, whatever we do, in whatever form we are guided to do, because otherwise we're not in the oneness of all life. Otherwise we can't say, you are my reflection. I am your reflection. I am my brother and my sister. I am my brother's keeper and my sister's keeper. That is not just a certain group of people, right? That's everyone. That includes the earth and how we walk upon her and how we take care of her. So we simply practice, and I truly mean simply practice. It might be the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's a simple practice. The simple practice of surrendering to divine love already within us. The simple practice of opening to love, divine love, and letting it heal the nooks and crannies of our being that have said no or not yet. The simple practice of surrendering and being willing to be healed by divine love within you. To be led by love. WWLD, what would love do? What would love say? What would love think? Right? And then to be liberated by that divine love and extend that to the worst among us. Whatever that means to you. And so let's do a healing treatment so that we can step into that place and truly demonstrate the world that works for everyone, the principle that love is all there is, and that we are the instruments to bring it. So know with me that there is only this one presence, this one power, this one love. And I now speak in the I am, which is not at all about me, that's simply the I am presence in each and every one of us. And so hear it as such. In this moment, I open my heart to divine love, and I fill up on it so much that it spills over into my mind, my heart, my body, my soul, my world, and beyond. And the ripple effect is so exciting because I know it never ends. And yet at the same time, it comes back to me as it is given, multiplied abundantly. So I experience the freedom of being an instrument of God's love. And this instrument, this love, is making a difference in the world, and I see it. I see it happen before my very eyes on a daily basis, whether I'm out in public, whether I'm doing my spiritual practices, whether I'm taking care of my home or my body or my loved ones. I see the witness. I am the witness of love made manifest in the world. I look for signs of love amongst all the different humans in the world, and I love and embrace diversity. There's nothing I hold outside my heart because I know that love is all there is. And as an instrument of divine love, I see healing happening all around me. I am a witness of it within my own life experience. Forgiveness comes with great ease because I know it sets me free. And joy and love bubble up from inside of me, where I remember that life is a gift and that I'm alive in this short span of time to do good work, to be love in action. I let anything that's in the way, whether I'm aware of it or not, be dissolved with grace by means of the law, because this word spoken is made manifest by universal law. It's how it works. So with all gratitude for this remembrance that love is all there is and that I am an instrument of divine love, fills my heart and all those around me, and turns all of life into healing blessings. And so it is. So we're going to play another song, but it's copyright, so we'll do it after the recording ends. But what I want to tell you about is that we have a very nice, fresh little flyer hot off the press on the back table. And that is because Bob Sima and Shannon Plummer are going to be back with us in person the last weekend of August and July. So they're here for a concert, live concert on Friday night, and a Saturday workshop, a Sunday celebration, and then Shannon is going to do sessions, and we're really blessed because Jean is hosting that. And we still have the reading circle happening every Tuesday from 7 to 8:30. It is just an amazing group of people and an amazing exploration of consciousness, and we're having so much fun doing it. There's only 3 more. And then Fairy Elaine Silver, will be on the virtual experience next Sunday. So the building is closed. We're not doing an in-person service. It's just live streaming and YouTube. So pay attention to that and grab the flyer because she's doing a really great Beatleology workshop afterwards on Zoom, which you must register for. And then I'm doing a program with CSL Philly on July 7th called Flourishing, which is my blend of all the different prosperity programs and using the book 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra, and this is on Zoom, so it's online. So grab the flyers, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter, and we will let you know exactly what's going on. And the last thing I want to say is thank you so much, everybody, for being here, for being there virtually, for participating, for your generosity, your support, your love. And John, thank you for being here. And Monica, thank you for playing. So that ends our broadcast. Have a beautiful day, everybody.